It's now confirmed, New Zealander Brendon Hartley will be racing for Scuderia Toro Rosso at the United States Grand Prix. A former member of the Red Bull Junior team and reserve driver for Red Bull Racing and Toro Rosso, Brendon reinvented himself as an endurance driver, winning the World Endurance Championship with Porsche. He'll stand in for Pierre Gasly, who'll be in Japan bidding to win the Super Formula Championship in the final race at Suzuka. Of course, this isn't the first time that a Formula One team calls a driver up for a substitution during the season. We've racked our brains and come up with 7 more late-notice substitutions. Michael Schumacher at the 1991 Belgian Grand Prix. Copyright Pascal Rondeau GT Images. In August 1991, Bertrand Gachot was arrested on charges of assault in a traffic jam. While in prison, of course, he couldn't take his place as Jordan's driver for the Belgian Grand Prix that year. While searching for a replacement, Eddie Jordan heard a very good proposal from Mercedes-Benz, who were willing to pay him $300,000 in order to promote a promising young German driver, Michael Schumacher. Schumacher made a great impression right away, qualifying in 7th place. And Gachot never got his seat back. Luciano Berti at the 2000 Austrian Grand Prix. Copyright Mark Thompson Allsport. Luciano Berti was the test driver for Jaguar in 2000 and was already looking for a full-time seat for the following season, but the way he performed on his debut in Formula One was a big surprise. Eddie Irvine was struck down with appendicitis just before qualifying and Berti was invited to replace him during the Austrian GP. The Brazilian driver made a consistent run and reinforced the team's decision to count on him for the following year. He is now a TV commentator for Formula One in Brazil. Roberto Pupa Moreno. Pictured at the top of the page. Roberto Pupa Moreno was 23 years old when he was invited by Lotus to replace Nigel Mansell at the 1982 Dutch GP. Mansell had dislocated his right arm in the previous race and was unable to drive. There was high expectations on Moreno. He could even get a contract for 1983. But the truth is everything went wrong. Moreno had a poor performance and failed to qualify, which ended up holding back his F1 career by at least 5 years. Jan Magnussen at the 1995 Pacific Grand Prix. Copyright Stevie Thorrington Olympics via Getty Images. Mika Hakkinen was out of the 1995 Pacific Grand Prix at the Ida circuit in Japan because of an appendicitis crisis. McLaren then opted to test a young talent who was being prepared for Formula the 1st of January. Magnussen. That was his only race for McLaren. He was released from the team a few months later to compete in IndyCar, and after that he returned to Formula One with Stewart Grand Prix, and is back again, mentoring his son Kevin Magnussen. David Coulthard gets a chance with Williams. Copyright Pascal Rondeau. Sport. Formula One was still deeply shaken by Ayrton Senna's death, but Williams needed a substitute for the Brazilian driver. Frank Williams's decision was to give test driver David Coulthard a chance. Coulthard made his debut at the 1994 Spanish GP and had very reasonable results over 2 years for the team. In 1996, he moved to McLaren. Alexander Wurz as the British Grand Prix. Copyright John Marsh Olympics via Getty Images. On mid-1997, Gerhard Berger lost 3 races due to surgery on a sinus problem. Benetton called Alexander Wurz to replace him in those races. In the last one, at the British Grand Prix, Wurz stunned the Formula One world by getting a podium, something very impressive for a rookie. This result was crucial for him to be announced as one of the drivers for the following year. Sebastian Vettel at the F1 Grand Prix of USA. Copyright Mark Thompson Getty Images. Sebastian Vettel was a Red Bull Junior team member, but the highly rated German wunderkind also had strong connections with BMW. He was already the test driver for the team and had his name widely commented on in the F1 paddock because he was incredibly fast during the free practices. But his big chance came unexpectedly. BMW's lead driver Robert Kubica suffered a spectacular accident in Canada and was unable to take part in the 2007 US Grand Prix. The best person to replace him was Vettel. He performed impressively at Indianapolis, scoring points in his first race. Not long after that, he was invited to race full-time for Scuderia Toro Rosso for the rest of the season. Stoffel Vandoorne with Fernando Alonso. Copyright McLaren Law. Photographic way can also mention as a postscript to this list Stoffel Vandoorne pictured above, who did a great job replacing Fernando Alonso last year in Bahrain. That performance landed him a full-time seat alongside the two-time world champion at McLaren for the 2017 season.